The chairlift at Stowe, Vermont. Many a time I've been here for some of the best skiing I have ever had. Not long ago, though, I rode this same lift in the summertime. I wanted to see for myself the glory of one of the most varied summer playgrounds in this country. A playground where steep mountains stand on end beside roads that are ideal for riding, where golf courses are surrounded by a countryside famed in song and story. Recreation, where once roamed good old Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys. 26 well-equipped state parks provide facilities for camping and picnicking. The chance to live outdoors in Vermont's justly celebrated green forests. Swimming, well, that easily tells its own story. Countless lakes from Pownell to Canaan, St. Albans to Brattleboro, and they provide infinite variety for water sports. Does walking or hiking appeal to you? Vermont's long trail is cut right through the backbone of the Green Mountains. Fishing? Well, the streams and lakes are always fully stocked with game fish, stocked from hatcheries like this one at Bennington. Conservation and sport go hand in hand. As nearly everybody knows, the many inns of Vermont are part of Vermont history. Anyone who travels will appreciate the tradition still apparent in fine food, equally fine accommodations. And when the sun sinks behind the Green Mountains, you'll remember that day in Vermont. Vermont in summer is quite different from the Vermont so many know as a background for skiing. Charming towns like this one, for example, Arlington, Vermont. Here lives Norman Rockwell, famous illustrator. If you'd ask him why, with all the world to choose from, why he chose Vermont for his home, maybe he'd tell you that's easy. The people. And just Vermont with its way of living that doesn't tie you up in knots, and that's all. Then he'd tell you to journey through Vermont and see for yourself. That's what he told me. Am I sorry I took his advice? Well, any place that could inspire a man to do work like this, the Four Freedoms, it should be worth seeing. You've heard about the Morgan Horse Farm near Middlebury, haven't you? It's worth seeing. The Morgan was the result of an unpaid bill. Sure enough, it was this way. A Yankee school teacher named Justin Morgan went down to Springfield, Massachusetts in 1795 to collect a bill. Just a Yankee wanting his money. He brought back a small horse like this one. Roundish body, refined head, thin, straight legs. And from that one came the famous Morgan of cavalry fame. I made a stop at Shelburne Village. Not long enough, though. I don't know how long it would take to pick up all the legends and stories behind these historic homes and farms. How different to the modern streamlined ferry that carries thousands back and forth across glorious Champlain each year. No matter where you stop, at a modern motor court like this, you find the kind of welcome that makes your Vermont travels a pleasure and with no regrets. Hotels? Same kind of welcome, of course. In fact, you get the feeling that you're a friend dropping in for a weekend and you forget that you're a paying guest. As for food, at almost any eating place you choose, it will be okay. You'll find the kind of cooking as well known as the magazine that describes Vermont life on newsstands throughout the country. Most famous of all Vermont edibles. Sure, you know. Pancakes flooded with Vermont maple syrup, the real thing. At Barrie, I stopped at the granite quarries to marvel, along with visitors from every state in the Union, to marvel at the skill and the determination of the men who take the granite from where it has been for millions of years. Over in the Proctor area, the underground marble quarries. You've heard of them, center of industry and tourist visits ever since colonial times. It isn't difficult to understand what Norman Rockwell meant when he talked about real people. Nearly everybody by now has heard of one particular Vermont family. In fact, millions have heard of them as well as heard them. The Trapp Family Choir of Stowe and their school of folk dancing and singing. Wonder if they'll sing for us. Let's get them to stop dancing for a moment and just sing. Not long you started and early days, now is the pleasure to take our pleasure. La 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 la. Not long you started and early days, now is the pleasure to take our pleasure. La 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 la. If you're lucky, you'll run into a group like this, too. This is another side of Vermont life. Who are they? Oh, just one of the many summer stock companies that play what is called the straw hat circuit. Can you think of a pleasanter summer job, working in such inspiring country as you find in Vermont and getting paid for it? To anyone who goes anywhere, there is the practical question, is it a long way? And how do we go? You may be surprised, but there are any number of summer residents who fly regularly to New York or Boston to carry on their business and then fly back to Vermont. Flying to work over a landscape like this, with its 430 lakes and ponds, it's far from monotonous. How about a bus? Oh, that's easy. Direct from New York, Boston, and as far west as Ohio, with each turn of the road a new and interesting experience. Train, of course, overnight out of New York or Boston. And as for traveling in your own car, as I normally do it, both winter and summer, nothing to it. 15 efficiently operated booths of the Official Information Service are strategically located at the important gateways to Vermont, just in case you are puzzled about the way. I believe my favorite story of the kind of hospitality and friendliness you find in Vermont involves a family much like the one you've just seen. Let's just imagine that it concerns you. You and your family on vacation. Breakdown. A problem? Now in Vermont, state policemen are just folks too. Being a neighbor doesn't end when he puts on a uniform. A call for assistance comes first. Next, it's almost lunchtime. Repairs take a little time, and the state trooper says, "Come along with me." We all have to eat, don't we? The tradition of giving assistance to travelers in trouble is a deep-seated tradition here in these hills, one that passes from generation to generation. long should it take? Oh, maybe an hour. So let's take it easy and relax. Help plus true hospitality. When are they more appreciated than at a moment like this? Almost before they knew it, the time had passed. The trooper was back, all set. Yes, if sometimes I get, a little put out with the human race, the memory of this little story and the many others like it that happen every day in Vermont, well, they don't let me stay mad very long. So do you wonder that a man like Norm Rockwell came here and made this his permanent home? I started out on this particular jaunt more or less out of curiosity, but after just a few days, something had happened. Something that had to do with the peace and strength of the land itself. Something that had to do with the people I'd met. Their faces, I still seemed to see them as I drove toward Plymouth, Vermont. And some words kept repeating themselves, a sentence I'd heard years ago. The part I remembered, the words, "I love Vermont most of all because of her indomitable people." But that was all I could remember. And when I got home, I looked up the rest of those words. And here are some of them, said by a man born in the shadow of these mountains. I could not look upon the peaks of Ascutney, Killington, Mansfield, and Equinox without being moved in a way no other scene would move me. If the spirit of liberty should vanish in other parts of our Union, it could be replenished from the generous store held by the people of this brave little state of Vermont. What else is there to say? Oh, just this, I guess. Don't wait as long as I waited to find the fun, the excitement, the inspiration, and the real satisfaction that lie behind these two words. Play Vermont.